Join me as I push through and complete painting a realistic watercolor portrait of two boys on a bike while we discuss together how simply the act of trying can bring you farther than you imagine in both your art journey and your life in general. Okay, so here's my setup and my sketch, and only now do I realize just how complicated this thing is, and I don't want to get confused on where the dark areas are on the piece and where the light ones are, because that's really important, you know, because if you shade in a part of your drawing that is supposed to be a highlight and you mix it up and you make it too dark, you know, it messes up the whole drawing and it throws the whole thing off. So what I came up with is I'm going to keep my projector on. This way I'll be able to block in the darkest areas with my first layer of watercolors, which is gonna kind of act like an underpainting, so I have a better understanding of my whole entire piece as a whole. I'm a self-taught artist, and I find it incredible how in only 2 years, my art went from looking like this to this. And the thing is, there wasn't any plan or hardcore schedule with tutorials that I was following or anything. All I did was simply kept going, kept creating. I know I've mentioned this in previous videos of mine, which go more in depth on my art journey and on this topic, but there's this quote that I love, which goes like this: "Ordinary effort over time, if consistent, yields extraordinary results." This quote is from the book The Magic Lamp by Keith Ellis. When I think about it, this quote literally embodies my whole art journey. There's another concept that I like lately, which is to just try. Then when you fail, try again, and again. And if you fail again, try once more. By simply trying over and over again, you end up way farther than those who never even tried in the first place. The reference photo I'm using for this watercolor painting is from Pinterest. If you're interested, I have this reference photo linked below in the description. I also have my Pinterest page linked, where you can find reference photos that you might like from the multitudes that I've collected in a similar style. The paper I'm using is called Yupo paper, which is a smooth paper with a waxy finish. The reason I like Yupo paper is that the watercolor stands on the paper and doesn't get absorbed much, which makes it harder to blend. I've been told that my paintings on Yupo paper actually end up looking like I painted with oils, when in reality I only use watercolor. It's interesting how much simply paper texture can add to the style of your artwork. An additional challenge with this particular painting is that the reference photo is in black and white. This means that I get to invent the colors myself, which is fun, but it can get a bit complicated at times and require a good amount of thought beforehand. I started reading this book recently called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I heard it mentioned many times here on YouTube from the art community, and I finally decided to give it a try. I'm currently in week 2. At the time of filming this video, I was in week 1, and so far I think I like it. Something this book does is push you to reflect on your doubts and negative beliefs surrounding creating art and art in general. Reading this book got me thinking, and through one of the exercises, I realized that for some reason, I have this fear of my art being destroyed by someone down the line who doesn't appreciate it. I feared that all it took was one person to throw my art in the trash for all that work and effort I put into that drawing or painting to become a waste. Something this book pushes you to do is to explore these negative thoughts and beliefs about your art and think of what influences it could be coming from. Maybe someone down the line said something negative to you concerning your art, or a certain experience in your life led you to believe this. I started thinking, what person or experience could have led me to fear my art being destroyed? And then I remembered a seemingly harmless and funny story that happened to me very, very long ago, which I will share with you. When I was around 3 or 4 years old, my grandmother showed me a way of drawing a princess. I actually luckily still have those drawings, which I'll put up on the screen. If you'd notice, the feet are upside down triangles. The reasoning for this, as my grandmother explained to me then, was that these triangles are the tips of the princess's heels peeking out from underneath the dress. Now, here's where all the action starts to happen. Later, I went to preschool and there I drew another princess. A lot of the girls there really liked it and asked me to draw them one. So during my free time, I would draw princesses for those girls who requested one. On one of the drawings, I worked super hard on it, and it turned out to be my favorite princess that I ever drew so far. When I proudly gave this drawing to one of the girls to keep, the first thing she said was, "Why are her feet triangles?" And before I could explain to her and stop her, she took a crayon and drew in these two ugly legs that looked something like this. Needless to say, I was so upset. That girl totally ruined my drawing. Remembering this story made me realize the root of why I was so worried now about my art being destroyed. This concern, while kind of valid, was one of the root causes of my art blocks and of me feeling unsure about myself spending so much time creating my art. Recently, when I was in the shower, I had this sudden realization. The end result, the finished art piece, isn't the reason why I create art in the first place. The reason I create art now is that the act of bringing something new into the world, something so unique that it can never be repeated, is what gives your life more meaning. Creating artworks that could possibly live on after you is a bonus to the main purpose of drawing or painting in the first place, which is simply the act of creating itself. Through this new perspective, the fear of my art being destroyed, while still a bothersome possibility, no longer holds so much power and significance over me now. This is my setup. I am actually currently painting in the bathroom because the lighting here is really good. And this painting has been a bit of a roller coaster. Something interesting that I find happens to me for some reason, write me a comment if you relate to this too. Every time I paint and start a new painting, I feel lost, as if I haven't been painting all this time. I actually took a break from this painting for several days, and this is my first day back. And something I'm trying to do, and I guess this mindset I'm trying to have from this day on, is to trust my intuition, just trust myself and be like, you know what to do. And you've done this before, and just trust yourself. Become absorbed in the process and just let it guide you. Let the process of painting itself guide you, and don't overthink it. Something else I found helpful was to take a look at my previous artworks, my previous watercolor paintings, and just study them and ask myself, why do I like this? Like, why did I make these specific choices back when I painted this piece? Like, why did I paint the ground blue, and why did I paint why did I specifically use this color to paint the wall? Just studying my own art and kind of seeing what worked in the past was just really helpful in being able to move forward with this piece. I think that one of the biggest challenges when creating art is knowing when to stop. It's a terrible feeling as an artist to realize you overworked your painting and that it looked better an hour ago when you should have stopped. One sign that makes me detect whether or not it's time for me to start finishing up my artwork is when I'm working on a piece for hours and I've painted absolutely every part of it imaginable, yet it still somehow looks unfinished. For me, this is a sign to take a break and then come back with my darkest color and start working on the final details, like you see me doing here. Details make a huge difference in making your painting look finished. Lately, there's a lot of people in my circle who are feeling a bit sick right now, including me. So if you're also feeling sick, I hope you feel better. Every time I'm sick, I feel like I relearn this lesson of seizing the moment, even if it's not perfect in every way, because you never know how you're going to feel tomorrow or in the next hour for that matter. Sometimes we take for granted what it's like to just live your life without a cough and having so much more energy. The thing is, at least for me, when you're feeling well and not sick, we tend to forget our blessings and pick and complain about how circumstances aren't perfect enough for us to create art. Don't let imperfection keep you from creating. I feel like one of the facts of life is that there never is perfect timing. So whether it's great timing or not, or whether you're feeling your best or not, or regardless of how long it's been, go draw, go paint, go make some art. Don't let these small things stop you. If anything in this video was helpful and speaks to you, please leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.